Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1742A, and today's date is December 16th, 2018, and the title of the episode is Bringing the Fed Down with Gold. Past quotes from Trump confirm it. Now, before we get started, have you always wondered how investors and stock traders are able to make money hand over fist from working in the comfort of their own home? Well, now it's your opportunity to learn how with one of the best online training programs out there. Whether the market is up or the market is down, here's a trade that made customers almost 3% profit in November on Bitcoin. Right now, through the holiday season, you can save 50% off their bundled specials, or use the promo code HOLIDAY for 40% off all non-bundled items. Gift bundles are also available. Check out TradeGeniusAcademy.com. Tell them X22 Report sent you. Let's get into the economic collapse financial news. Now, Q has signaled to everyone that the plan to take down the Fed is going to be by using gold, that the United States has a lot more gold than people think. Now, it might not be in Fort Knox. It might be someplace else. Maybe it's still under the ground, but there is gold. And we can see that there's going to be an economic structure change. Now, when you hear these, bits of information, you think to yourself, how is this going to happen? How are they going to take our existing system and change it? Right now, the central banks, they are in control. The IMF, the BIZ, the ECB, the Fed, they are running the world's economy. And that all leads up to who? The Rothschilds. And we need to remember, if we go back to The Economist magazine, they said in the year of 2018, what did they tell us? They told us that we were going to be moving to a gold system. Now, does it mean exactly in the year 2018, or is that the beginning of the entire world moving to a gold system? Now, which is very odd because that was put out a while ago. Q just recently said that the Fed is going to be brought down by gold, which is real money. So when you start to think about all this, you're saying, whoa, what's going on here? We're going to be talking about that a little bit later in this report. We're also going to be talking about how Trump actually has been talking about using gold in this economic system way before Q even mentioned anything. But let's look at the world economy right now because things are starting to break apart. And don't get me wrong here. The Patriots, Trump, they already knew that this central bank system, when I talk about the economy coming down, they already knew that this central bank economy cannot stand the way it is right now, that eventually it would have to be reset. And what we're watching right now, and it just didn't start in 2016 or 2015. This started a long time ago, but it really became noticeable in 2008 when everything just came to a screeching halt. And this is why the central banks had to start creating currency like there was no tomorrow. They needed some type of collapse, some type of great recession to scare everyone, because they knew if they didn't do this, it would have just come down right there and then. But they knew, and this was planned, they knew they needed some time to get everything prepared for their transition. And this is why this happened in 2008. They needed that ability to create a lot of currency, to prop up the global system, and allow them to transition someplace else. Remember, their plans were completely different than they are today. Their plan was to mask everything with some type of world event, which is most likely to be a war. Now they don't have this. So everything that they've done was to create this illusion that the economy was doing well. But we know, because we've been following it for a very long time, and this was the whole purpose of it, we knew that the economy was built on an illusion. And now that illusion is breaking apart, falling apart, and imploding on itself, which we knew what was going to happen. We see the European auto registrations, they have plunged for the third month in a row, down 8.8% in November. Now, once again, once you start seeing this type of data where the automobile industry is declining very rapidly in other countries, China's already recognized that their automobile industry is declining. Europe, their automobile industry is declining. The US, the automobile industry is declining. All of this is happening for the same reason. The entire system was built on an illusion. And when the illusion breaks away from what is really going on in the economy, this is why you start to see these things. We've been talking about homes and the prices of homes and existing home sales for a very long time. We discussed many times over how the entire housing market was created to make it look like the housing market was booming. But it was one gigantic illusion. We knew, going back in time, the central banks told the banks, listen, don't foreclose on the homes. Let people live in it. Keep homes off the market. That will drive prices up. We will give this free money and this low interest rate to all these hedge funds and investment companies to invest in homes. Not one house, two house, tens of thousands of homes. Keep them off the market. What does it do? It drives prices up. We're starting to see it all fall apart right now. Why? Because all these different investment houses, they are selling. They want to get rid of what they have right now, because if they hold on to it, it's going to be a complete disaster. So out in the West Coast, Seattle, San Francisco, and many other areas, we're starting to see home prices start to fall apart. And we're starting to see it in many other places also. And it's going to hit the entire United States. We see it in Australia. We see it in Canada. It's happening everywhere. But when you look at Seattle in Kings County, you can see the median single-family home price plunged to $644,000 in November. That was a huge plunge from $726,000 that was in the spring of the same year. So in the spring, it was $726,000. It came down almost $100,000, actually $82,000 to be exact. That is huge. And if you look around the entire country, and if you look in Canada, if you look in Australia, many other places, Europe included, you'll see that prices are starting to come down right now. The entire system is starting to fall apart. Now, a couple reports back, we mentioned that the central banks, they're worried about their independence. And central banks everywhere are struggling to stay above politics. And we see that many central bankers, they're starting to resign. Actually, the governor of the Reserve Bank of India resigned just weeks after the government moved to exert more control over RBI's regulatory powers. We're seeing other central bankers out there, and they are worried about their independence, which means country after country after country, the people in all these countries, they are questioning the central bank and should they be independent. Now, Trump has been doing this quite often. He's out there contradicting the Fed, saying that they shouldn't be raising rates. This is ridiculous. What's going on here? If the economy falls apart, it's the Fed's fault. This is all being done on purpose. Why? Because they're getting ready to blame the Fed when the system fails. And actually, who really is responsible? It is the Fed. It's their system. Trump, the Patriots, those working with him, they already know that a central banking system does not last that long. The debt load crushes their system. And this is why they're preparing to take down the Fed using gold. Now, we need to remember, a central bank, their monetary system on a reserve currency basis is completely unsustainable. And again, Trump and the Patriots, they know this. This is why Trump has Andrew Jackson hang on the wall. This is a signal to everyone that they're preparing to take down the Fed. Actually, Q has just confirmed this, so we know this to be true. Now, back in 2016, before Trump was elected president, he was out there on different interviews, and he made different quotes, and there were different articles that came out about how Trump views gold. Here's one from Bloomberg, which Donald Trump says, Donald Trump loves gold and don't forget it. What could his obsession tell us about his message? Another one from Forbes, Donald Trump, the gold standard, Maynard Keynes, and our madmen in authority. He was also on a radio station, WMUR, and he said, we used to have a very, very solid country because it was based on the gold standard. He was also in GQ, where he said bringing back the gold standard would be very hard to do, but boy, would it be wonderful. We'd have a standard on which to base our money. Right there and then, with all of this, you can see that Trump has always been on the track of bringing back the gold standard, or using gold as a confidence builder, or using gold to bring down the Fed. Remember, the gold might not be in Fort Knox. The gold might be in other places. And I think for a very long time, people thought since the gold was not in Fort Knox, we didn't have gold anywhere. I know Bix Ware, he's been doing a lot of research into the Grand Canyon, saying there's a huge amount of gold in the Grand Canyon. And I believe that this might be one of the locations where gold might be. And with Trump saying this, with Q saying this, we can see that gold is going to be the weapon of choice. Coming out of The Economist, they've also predicted in 2018 the entire economic structure would be heading into a gold standard. Actually, Q is saying that the economic structure is about to change. So what would be the outcome of Trump's following his instincts and going for gold? Well, that would be prosperity. That's what. How might President Trump go about turning this around? Well, he has a unique opening to forcefully pivot America toward epic prosperity. Replace the dollar with gold as a global currency to make America great again. We have the gold. It is possible to do this. This would destroy the entire central banking system, because if every country used gold, everyone would realize that the paper money the central bankers have been pushing is absolutely worthless. And people would also realize and recognize that gold has been suppressed for a very long time. Because once countries start to use gold, guess what? The manipulation comes to an end. The central bankers will not be able to manipulate it. And then you'll find out what gold is really worth compared to the central bankers' paper fiat currency. So we can see just by Trump's quotes, his interviews, he is on the same page. It's not just Q saying it. They're working together with others to push us into a gold-backed system or a gold confidence system to allow the country, to allow the world to become prosperous. Because without the central bank, the way things look today will look very, very different. Not just here in the United States, but around the world. We're not used to living in a world of prosperity with maybe little or no taxes, without checks and balances. We've been brainwashed for a very long time to live in the central banker's world of debt, of only knowing debt. And what defines you? Your credit score and how well you handle that debt. I mean, think about what they've done. And they made us believe that what we're seeing in the economy is completely natural. But we know it's manipulated. We know that Trump has the magic wand. I mean, before him, Obama had the magic wand, but they're using it differently. And we know that everything is about to change. And yes, it will be a bumpy ride, because when you're moving off a paper currency that is absolutely worthless, that's based or backed by absolutely nothing, and moving into real money, well, people are going to take a hit. I mean, think about it when we came off the gold standard and moved to paper currency. It was a little different because they were able to create a lot more currency to make it feel like your currency bought a lot more. So your salary went up, home prices went up, products went up, but it wasn't because they were going up. It was because you needed more of that dollar to do the same exact thing. Now we're doing it the opposite way. And that's why in the beginning, it's going to be a little hard. A lot of people don't have gold, and it's going to be pretty difficult, or silver or anything, and it'll be a little bit difficult in the beginning. But eventually, once the system gets online, everyone will see the difference, and it will be a huge eye-opener to everyone, because we've been brainwashed to think that this system, this global system with all this debt, is normal. So get prepared, get ready. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.